hate when you have to travel for like an hour away from your city just to find an empty spot where you can film a silly video? Yeah, I hate that shit too. But there's not a single spot in this city that is not populated or has security, so we have to travel all the way over here. I really like this space. There's nobody to bother me, so I can fucking scream out if I want to, and nobody's gonna think I'm crazy. Are you guys ready to hear how much it takes to build a Corvette like this? Because I'm not, because it's really gonna hurt me when I see all the prices stacking up. Who knows, I might cry during the video. Today we're gonna tell you the price that it took to build this Corvette that you're looking at right now. So yeah, the way we're gonna do it is we're gonna start off by telling you the price it would cost to do a simple cam job. Once we do that, we'll move on to telling you what it would cost to do a head and lifter job, the price it would take to rebuild the engine, the list of parts you would need to do these jobs, adding up all the receipts, and then we'll tell you the grand total of what it cost me to get the car in the shape that you see it right now. Alright, so let's begin. How do we even start? There's so much to say. Keep in mind that these prices may vary. You can always find the parts for cheaper, but this is just an estimation and most of the numbers are rounded up just to make the counting a little bit easier. If you were just doing a simple cam swap, the cost of all the fluids and supplies sums up to around $200. So I bought a BTR Stage 2 cam kit that came with a timing cover gasket set, chrome olive push rods, titanium springs, and the price for all those components together was $779. So now that you got a good cam kit, it is also recommended that you upgrade your rocker arms. I upgraded my tuning bearings with the kit from CHE Racing, and the total for this one was $217. You also want to upgrade your cam plate. If you don't know what a cam plate is, you should probably upgrade it. I went with APR cam bolts and it was around $8. My chain and sprocket kit was $80. Timing chain dampener, that one you can find for around $20. You're also going to need a crank bolt. I went with the ARP crank bolt and it was $37. For the intake and exhaust gasket that you're going to need to replace, it's going to be $42. You also want to upgrade your spark plugs. My spark plugs ran me around $32. The cost of my harmonic balancer, $256. Once you get all of those parts, you get them installed, you're also going to need a tune. You can find a tune for around $150 depending on who you go with and if it's going to be a dyno tune or just a data log. I went with the data log, so my tune was around $150 with the local tuner. Right now for a simple cam job, we're looking at around $1,841, adding up all the prices of the parts that I purchased. Now let's say that you want to replace the heads also, or you have really bad luck and you ran into the same problem that I ran into and you have to replace the lifters. If you're going to do a lifter job, you're going to need head gaskets. I went with the kit from Texas Speed, which was a multi-layer gasket, and it cost me $82 for a pair of them. Once you take the heads off, you're also going to need head bolts. I went with the ARP set of head bolts and mine was $115. So for my lifters, I didn't go with any performance lifters. I just went with OEM replacement lifters from GM. Those were the LS7 style lifters with the buckets, and those ran me around $205. Getting the heads machine, the price varies depending on the type of work that you want to do. If you want to get them poured and polished, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. With the cam that I was running, I didn't really have a need to port the heads, so I just resurfaced them and reinstall them as they were, and the price of the machine shop for both heads was around $382, which was a great price in my opinion because I called multiple shops and they all wanted to charge around $400. So those supplies are going to stay the same as before. However, the labor is going to be a lot more, but I'm not including that right now. I'm just assuming that you're going to do it. And if you wanted to go with a good set of heads, they run you around $1,800 to $2,000. So that would put you around $4,000. But I didn't go with that. I kept my stock heads. I just machined them. So my total was $2,625. Alright, now let's pretend you have really bad luck. Life won't let you catch a break, and the worst possible scenario that can happen actually ends up happening, and now you gotta rebuild your engine. You're not going for a crazy power build, you just want to fix the damage and maybe improve it a little bit from stock. Well, in this case, to rebuild your engine, you're gonna need oil pan gasket, which usually runs around $68. Rear main seal, mine was $43. And oil barbell, it was around $16. If you get a bad lifter like I did, you're gonna have to replace every single thing that oil touched. That includes really expensive stuff like your oil pump. Mine was $367 for a stock replacement from GM, which was the LS7, LS9 style. You're also gonna need an oil cooler and oil cooler lines. If you have a dry sump system like mine, those things together will run you $800. I obviously didn't end up doing that. I actually bypassed my oil cooler. That was $25. It's not a permanent fix, it's just for the time being, so that's what I went with. You're gonna need a lot of braking oil. You're gonna spend around $80 for the cheapest braking oil you can find. It's still good quality, but you can spend up to $200. When I rebuilt my engine, I beefed it up a little bit from stock. I went with ARP bolts everywhere, and also went with race spec bearings like I said on my previous videos. That, and including the machine shop, it was around $2,400. So that brings us to a total of $5,624 to rebuild your engine. When I was reading through the prices and finding out how much I spent so far, I actually got pretty sad and I had to stop recording. I'm feeling a little bit better today. I've recovered emotionally. So now I'm going to continue with the list with a little bit more energy this time because I don't want to make the video boring. Not only did my car need an engine rebuild, also throughout the disassembly I found a couple items that required maintenance. 2 of the coolant reservoir hoses were leaking and the price for those hoses were $65 and $113. Also, my motor mounts were junked. I actually ended up upgrading my motor mounts to some nice billet aluminum motor mounts from a company called AMT, which they ran me for $200. I also had to replace my clutch with an organic XCD clutch stage 1, and that one ran me for $465 including the throwout bearing. I also had to get the flywheel bolts and pressure plate bolts, which cost me $70. When you're doing a clutch job in a Corvette, you want to add a speed bleeder because it's just going to make your life a lot easier in the future. So my TIC Performance speed bleeder was $70. Since my car sat around for so long, my battery decided to die, and I actually had to spend $230 to buy a new Optima battery. And also, my TPMS sensors decided to take a crap, and I had to spend $96 to replace the TPMS sensors and get them mounted. My map sensor also decided to go out, which was $30 for an AC Delco replacement. And after the car was ready to start, I had to buy more braking oil, which ran me for $80, plus a new oil filter, which was another $10. Once the car was drivable, I had to get a retune, so that was another $150. But I also decided to add a catch can from Mighty Mouse, which you will see in a future video, and that one ran me for $300. But the pain didn't stop there. Since I decided to do the job myself and save myself the labor cost, I actually had to buy a few specialty tools in order to be able to complete this task properly and how the manufacturer recommends this job to be done. Some of these special tools that I ended up buying was a set of foot crows, 2 torque wrenches, 1 for inch pounds and 1 for really high foot pounds. I also ended up buying fuel line disconnect tools, gasket scrapers, seal alignment tools, harmonic balancer installer as well, and the added cost for all the tools that I had to buy was $400. At this point, my fingers were almost bleeding from typing in my credit card information into so many different websites, but this car just kept on kicking my ass. There were a few more added costs that you will most likely not have to pay, and the reason why I had to spend this extra money is because I ordered a lot of incorrect parts due to false information and incorrect website descriptions. I bought an extra set of head bolts for $225, an extra harmonic balancer for $142, and I also paid $34 for an ARP crank bolt. Keep in mind that I had to pay all this money out of pocket within the first year of owning this car. And due to these tragic events happening, I actually had to sell my camera to the pawn shop before I even finished recording this video. So I'm recording with the phone. But are you guys ready to know the final price of everything that I spent in this car? Including all the extra parts that I had to buy and all those specialty tools I also purchased. The total price that I spent on this build is $8,303. Now, if you add that to the $25,000 that I spent initially when I purchased this car, the total comes out to, I'm on 10%. I don't know if I'm going to be able to add it up real quick, but give me a second. So the total comes out to $33,303. So that is how much it cost me to buy and build my dream car. So that was it. I just gave you the complete list of every single part that I bought and how much money I spent on this car. I really hope my family didn't watch this video all the way through here, because they're gonna start to question me really soon about why I spent this much money on a car. And honestly, I don't know myself. Being a car guy is kind of complicated. It doesn't really make sense, but you gotta have a hobby, because if not, you're gonna spend your money on stupid stuff anyways. And like my brother said on the previous video, it's all part of being a car guy. It's part of the culture. Even though to me, the money that I spent seems like a great amount, I know there's plenty of people that spend way more money than that on their builds. And I know what you're gonna tell me in the comments. You're gonna be like, oh, you spent this much money on an expensive car and you expect not to pay expensive money to fix it. And to be honest, this is a LS engine. It's nothing special. Somebody that has a Chevy Silverado or a Camaro would have paid the same amount of money to fix the engine the way that I did. You guys also lied to me. I went through all the forums and everybody swears on their grandmother that this is the perfect car, the perfect engine, and that it wasn't gonna have any problems. But I found out that you guys are lying, and I'm gonna expose all of those things later on. In a sense, you do have to spend good money to have nice things, but in reality, this car is really nice and it wasn't that expensive altogether. Even with the money that I put into it for the engine and with the prices that I got it for, your mom's Prius is probably still more expensive than my car. I shouldn't be that upset that I had to put some money into the car to make it perfect. I'm just mad because I don't like spending money. When I bought the car, it had 96,000 miles. 3,000 miles later, the engine blew up, so now we're at 100,000 miles in the chassis, but the engine is all fresh. I'm not rich by any means. I actually had to sell one of my kidneys. I can show you the scar, and now I'm living out of my car. But it doesn't matter because I bought this car just for the sole purpose that I believe that it was gonna help the channel take off. So hopefully this video gets more than 100 views. It also helped me kick off this beautiful series, which is gonna be a timeless masterpiece once it's done. I believe it's one of a kind, and nobody has done a build series like this, which tells a story through a collection of videos that are in order and they're in the format of a music album or a TV series. Let me know how you found this video. If YouTube recommended it, if you searched it up, just comment down below, let us know, because it really helps us understand how our videos can get out there into the world. I'm a little bit stingy with my bread because I'm not used to the dough, so that's the reason why I still have buyer's remorse to this day. I'm gonna keep driving the car, and maybe building a bond with this car is gonna get that feeling away from me, and that's something that only time will tell. Now that I expose how much money I spend on this car, right now I just want to go home and forget that this all happened. So see you guys. So I made it home, which is behind this empty Walmart. I'm pretty heartbroken. I just want to go to sleep now and forget about my financial situation. I'm just gonna go to sleep the same way you guys sleep on our videos. So this car was probably the worst financial decision I've made in a while. Was it worth it though? I'm about to find out.